Welcome to Neon Primer Go-to-Market, where Vega and Axon break down go-to-market strategy for founders who are done guessing. New episode every week.
In 2024, the median rate for a top-tier corporate lawyer officially crossed $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, which is just a staggering number.
It really is. Yet, paradoxically, the traditional law firm model, like the classic idea where you just hang a beautiful brass shingle outside a mahogany office and wait for the clients to magically appear,
Yeah.
that is dying faster than ever before.
It's a brutal reality check for a lot of legacy partnerships, honestly, because for decades, the professional services industry operated on this "if you build it, they will come" philosophy. You know, you got the degree, you passed the bar, and the prestige of the profession just, well, the heavy lifting for your sales process.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today's deep dive is into the rapidly evolving, incredibly high-stakes world of law firm go-to-market strategies, or GTM.
And we have a massive stack of industry research in front of us for this one.
We really do. We're talking comprehensive reports from Clio, BTI, Thomson Reuters, LexisNexis, and the American Bar Association. So our mission today is to filter out all that noise and uncover exactly how modern firms are redesigning their entire revenue engines to win clients right now.
And, you know, if you are listening to this, you should know that the lessons hidden in this legal data, they aren't just for lawyers.
Absolutely not. Whether you are a legal professional trying to scale a practice or, I don't know, a B2B consultant, or just someone fascinated by how an ancient, highly traditional profession is colliding head-on with artificial intelligence and modern consumer behavior, this deep dive provides a masterclass in market segmentation and strategic pricing.
Yeah, the blueprint we are going to outline applies to almost any knowledge-based industry.
Exactly. So looking at the macro environment first, before we get into specific tactics, we really have to understand the seismic shift that's forcing these firms to completely change how they sell.
Right, we have to look at the power dynamic. For a very, very long time, the legal industry was a strict seller's market.
The lawyers held all the cards.
Precisely. They dictated the terms, the timelines, and especially the pricing. But the research from Thomson Reuters and the Georgetown Law Center, it paints a completely inverted picture today. We have officially transitioned into a buyer's market.
Wow.
Yeah. Corporate clients and everyday consumers, they are actively demanding control over how their matters are staffed, how the work is scheduled, and, crucially, how it's priced.
So they aren't just handing over a blank check anymore and saying, like, tell me what I owe you when it's done.
Far from it. And this demand for control has created what the industry data calls a barbell go-to-market reality.
A barbell reality.
Yeah, picture a physical weightlifting barbell. All the weight, meaning all the revenue growth, is shifting to the two extreme ends of the market while the middle is getting completely hollowed out.
Oh, I see.
On one end of the barbell, you have your mid-size firms. They are seeing incredibly strong demand right now.
Because they're cheaper.
Essentially, yes. Massive corporate clients are taking their routine, more cost-sensitive legal work and moving it downstream to these highly capable but lower-cost regional firms.
Okay, and then on the other end of that barbell, you have the elite, massive players, what the industry calls the Am Law 100, meaning the top 100 highest-grossing law firms in the U.S.
Right.
They are shedding that routine work, but keeping the highly strategic premium bet the company matters. We're talking major corporate mergers,
Yeah.
massive regulatory battles.
That's exactly where LexisNexis notes that median partner rates at these giant firms with 750 or more lawyers, cross that $1,000 per hour mark for premium work.
It's just wild. The top end is commanding this astronomical premium for specialized expertise, and the highly efficient lower cost end is capturing all the routine volume.
Right.
So it's a lot like the fitness industry. You have high-end, bespoke personal trainers on one extreme charging a massive premium for highly specialized attention. Then you have high-volume, tech-enabled budget gyms on the other end that just give you great equipment at a low price.
That's a great comparison.
But the middle-of-the-road generic gym that doesn't really specialize in anything and still charges a moderate fee, that generic middle is getting absolutely crushed.
It's a perfect way to visualize the mechanics of this market. If you are generic, you have zero value proposition for a modern buyer.
Yeah.
Historically, a firm might just buy a billboard on the highway, right? Or sponsor a local golf tournament and call that their brand. But BTI's research shows that in the legal world, a brand is not a logo or a billboard.
What is it then?
A winning brand is actually defined by two very specific operational metrics: trusted peer recollection plus proof of operational fit.
Meaning, it's not just about me recognizing your firm's name on a bus stop. It's about a trusted colleague recommending you, and then me verifying through your content and your intake process that your firm actually operates in a way that aligns with my specific business needs.
Exactly. The modern buying journey is highly scrutinized. Nobody buys legal services on name recognition alone anymore.
Okay, so if the middle of the market is dead, firms have to choose a side. Let's look at the high-volume side first. If you're targeting everyday consumers for, say, family law, personal injury, or immigration, the psychology of the buyer is completely different than a corporate CEO.
Oh, completely.
And the data from Clio reveals a massive paradox here. They found that 70% of people who recently hired a lawyer said it was actually easy to find and hire one.
Which completely upends the traditional assumption that lawyers need to spend massive amounts of money just making people aware that they exist.
Wait, if finding a lawyer is so easy for 70% of people, isn't marketing a complete waste of capital for these consumer firms? I mean, shouldn't they just focus on practicing good law and let the ease of the market bring the clients in?
I mean, it's a completely logical deduction, but we have to look at what easy to find actually means mechanically in today's digital economy.
Okay.
What it means is that consumer expectations for convenience are sky high. Think about how you order a rideshare or groceries on your phone. You expect absolute zero friction immediacy. So for a consumer law firm, the goal isn't basic awareness anymore. The goal is being the firm that is easiest to trust and easiest to engage at the exact millisecond that the client's problem becomes unbearable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if a person is dealing with a sudden family crisis or a car accident and your firm's intake process isn't frictionless, like if they have to leave a voicemail and wait 2 days for a callback, they simply click the back button and go to the next Google result.
So the go-to-market motion isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about aggressively removing every single hurdle between the client's stress and your firm's solution.
That's it. The winning playbook for this consumer segment relies heavily on operational speed.
Meaning what, practically?
Well, it means prioritizing local SEO. They are actively gaming the search algorithms, so their firm is the first thing you see on Google Maps in your specific zip code. It means optimizing your Google business profile and using automated software to generate positive online reviews because consumers absolutely use those as a trust proxy. And most importantly, it comes down to what the industry calls speed to lead and online booking. If a stressed client can't book an initial consultation directly on your website at 11:00 p.m. on a Tuesday, your marketing dollars just went to your competitor.
And the data shows this also extends to how these consumer firms price their services, right? They are productizing the front end of their business.
Yes, heavily.
They are offering flat fee initial consults, uncontested divorce packages, or using milestone billing where the client pays a fixed amount at specific stages of the case. They are mechanically making the cost predictable so the consumer isn't terrified of a runaway hourly bill.
Exactly. You have to package the service to match the specific psychological state of your buyer. In this case, a stressed consumer seeking certainty.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because a frictionless website and a flat fee divorce package works brilliantly for a family law dispute, but it's absolutely not going to win a Fortune 500 merger.
No, not at all.
The strategy completely flips when we look at corporate B2B buyers.
It's an entirely different ecosystem with entirely different procurement mechanics. If we look at the mid-market and B2B boutique firms, their buyer journey relies heavily on a partner ecosystem.
Like referrals.
Yes, but deep referral relationships with CPAs, venture capitalists, and investment bankers. But, and this is key, BTI's research shows that corporate buyers aren't just blindly following referrals anymore. They actively reward what they call idea-based pitches.
I want to break that down because an idea-based pitch sounds a bit like corporate jargon. Mechanically, what does that actually look like in the real world?
Mechanically, it means you don't just walk into a prospective client's boardroom and show a slide deck of where your partners went to law school.
Right.
You walk in and say, we analyzed the new data privacy regulations in your specific sector. We looked at your current supply chain. And here is a 3-step legal framework we custom built to protect your profit margins over the next 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah, you bring actionable, sector-specific thought leadership to the table before they even hire you.
That's aggressive.
It is. A great example highlighted in the source material is Saul Ewing's outsourced general counsel offering. It's a fixed monthly retainer that acts as a predictable legal department for growing businesses. Another is Cooligo, which is this massive free content and document generation platform designed specifically for startup founders.
So they are essentially acting as strategic business advisors who just happen to practice law. They are providing extreme niche value long before a formal legal matter even exists.
Exactly.
And I imagine for those massive enterprise firms, the ones dealing with Fortune 500 in-house legal departments, tracking clicks on a website or running social media ads is basically useless. Like a massive corporation isn't clicking a Facebook ad to hire outside counsel for a billion-dollar merger.
Definitely not. Digital channels like LinkedIn or thought leadership hubs, they're still necessary to support baseline credibility, but you are completely right. They do not close the deal.
Right.
Enterprise buyers operate through heavy, formalized procurement processes. They use preferred firm lists, informal panels, and specialized legal operations teams.
Which are basically corporate departments dedicated entirely to managing outside legal spend, right?
Yes. The actual closing motion here requires dedicated client team selling.
And the Thomson Reuters data highlights that for these enterprise giants, alternative fee arrangements, or AFAs, along with the law firm's use of technology, are top selection criteria. It's not just about legal brilliance anymore. It's about how efficiently a firm can manage a multi-million-dollar budget.
Absolutely.
You see this with Oryx Value Management page. They actually have a section of their website dedicated solely to marketing their measurable financial savings, their legal project management, and their budget control capabilities. It's the difference between selling a consumer gadget on Amazon with 5-star reviews versus a multi-year enterprise software contract where you need a dedicated sales team and a customized pitch.
Which is a profound structural shift for the industry. They are marketing their operational efficiency and financial predictability as a core feature of their legal expertise.
And mentioning alternative fee arrangements for corporate clients naturally leads us to the pricing revolution happening across the entire industry. Because this is a revolution that is being hyper-accelerated by generative AI.
Oh, completely.
Now, looking at the Thomson Reuters data, hourly billing is still the default mechanism. Something like 90% of law firm spend still flows through standard hourly rates. But the mechanical pressure on that model is reaching a breaking point.
The pressure is hitting a boiling point, largely because of the American Bar Association, specifically a recent regulatory stance called ABA Formal Opinion 512.
Okay, what does that do?
This opinion creates a massive paradigm shift for the industry's revenue model. It explicitly states that lawyers using generative AI to do their work faster cannot charge the client for the time the AI saved.
Wait.
They can only bill for their actual time spent reviewing and prompting the AI.
Hold on. Let me make sure I understand the mechanics of this. If a lawyer uses AI to draft a complex contract in 1 hour, a contract that used to take them 5 hours to write manually, and the ABA says they can only bill for that 1 actual hour of time, doesn't AI actually cost them money?
Yes.
If they stick to hourly billing, they are essentially punishing their own revenue for being more efficient.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you've hit on the exact existential crisis facing the billable hour today. That is exactly why AI is forcing firms to completely rethink how they assign value to their work.
It makes total sense.
If you stick to pure hourly billing for repeatable, document-heavy work, technological efficiency becomes a severe economic penalty. Firms simply must pivot away from selling their time.
So they have to move to value-based pricing, where the client pays for the outcome, regardless of whether it took the lawyer 10 hours or 10 minutes.
Precisely. And the transition is already happening. The Clio data shows that 59% of firms are now using flat fees either exclusively or alongside their hourly rates.
Wow, almost 60%.
Yeah. We are seeing a major mechanical shift toward subscriptions, milestone billing, and hybrid AFAs. The focus is moving away from how much time did this take to what is the predictability and outcome worth to the client's business.
Do we have an example of that?
A prime example from the reports is Fenimore's combination with Lucent Law. They specifically integrated AI and heavy automation to deliver flat-rate corporate and real estate services. By doing that, they capture the financial margin of their own efficiency instead of passing all the savings back to the client in the form of fewer billable hours.
Okay, so a smart, forward-thinking firm recognizes all of this. They want to pivot. They want to market their shiny new flat-rate AI services. They want to hyper-segment their audience. They want to build these frictionless intake funnels. But unlike a tech startup that can just launch a disruptive marketing campaign, law firms face a completely different reality.
Very different.
The rules on how they can attract clients are incredibly strict. And I want to dig into why these rules exist before we talk about what they are.
The why is rooted in the inherent power dynamic between a lawyer and a layperson. Historically, the legal profession has heavily restricted marketing to prevent the exploitation of vulnerable people.
Like the classic fear of ambulance chasing.
Exactly. The governing bodies operate on the principle that legal services aren't just another consumer good. There is a fiduciary duty. The rules are designed to protect the dignity of the profession and prevent lawyers from making misleading promises to people who don't understand the complexities of the law.
Which makes sense in theory, but in the digital age, it creates a labyrinth of compliance. The source material points to ABA Model Rule 7.2, which strictly regulates paying for recommendations. If a law firm uses a lead generation service online, that software generator cannot act as if it is independently analyzing a client's specific problem to route them to the best lawyer.
That's the core issue. The technology cannot cross the line into giving the illusion of personalized legal advice or a customized endorsement. The moment an algorithm implies, based on your unique situation, this is the best lawyer for you, it crosses into unauthorized practice of law or an impermissible referral.
And it changes wildly depending on what state you are operating in. The reports point out that California requires incredibly strict formal certification for anyone running a lawyer referral service. Meanwhile, in Florida, the rules are so rigid that simply clicking the boost button on a routine social media post can mechanically trigger formal filing and solicitation requirements with the state bar.
It requires a level of strict compliance oversight that most standard out-of-the-box marketing agencies simply aren't prepared to handle. You can't just A/B test a provocative headline without running it past a compliance committee.
And it gets even more complicated when you look at online reputation management. We talked earlier about how vital online reviews are for consumer practices. Consumers use Google reviews as a primary trust signal.
Oh, absolutely.
But ABA, Formal Opinion 496, warns that simply responding to a negative online review can breach client confidentiality. Imagine running a modern digital business where you can't even reply to a one-star Yelp review without risking your professional license. How do you even manage your reputation?
It's a compliance trap that catches many well-meaning lawyers. Even if the lawyer thinks their response is generic, saying something completely benign like, "We always strive to communicate clearly regarding court dates," they might inadvertently confirm that the reviewer was indeed a client. Or they might accidentally reveal a tiny detail about the representation. That is a direct violation of confidentiality. To manage it, firms have to be incredibly disciplined. They usually stick to highly sanitized, pre-approved templates that say something like, "Professional obligations prevent us from discussing specific matters, but we invite you to contact our office directly."
Which sounds completely robotic.
It sounds robotic, but it's the only way to stay safe.
So, given all of these intense ethical constraints and the need to build these hyper-segmented go-to-market strategies, whether it's frictionless local SEO for family law or deep value management pitches for enterprise clients, how does a firm actually measure if this complex machine is working? Because they aren't working with massive budgets. The data says average law firm marketing budgets sit at just 1% to 2% of total revenue.
Right, and with a budget that tight, you can't afford vanity metrics. Firms must measure the full funnel, and that starts with their baseline operational health. If the operations are broken, the marketing is irrelevant.
Makes sense.
Clio's 2025 benchmarks provide a really solid baseline for the industry here. They note 3 critical operational metrics. First, a 38% utilization rate, which is the amount of the working day actually spent on billable work rather than admin.
Okay.
Second, an 88% realization rate, meaning the percentage of that billable work that actually makes it onto an invoice without being written down or discounted by the partner. And finally, a 93% collection rate, which is the percentage of billed amounts that are actually paid by the clients. It's like running a high-end restaurant, where the marketing team gets thousands of eager people in the door, but the waiters are dropping the plates before they reach the table.
Yes.
Your collection and realization rates are the waiters dropping the plates. It doesn't matter how good your digital ads are if the operational delivery and billing mechanisms are shattered.
That's a great analogy. You have to fix the kitchen and the wait staff before you buy more advertising. But assuming those baseline operational metrics are solid, how they track the actual marketing success depends entirely on their segment.
Right, because the KPIs, the key performance indicators, must match the buyer journey. If you are running a consumer firm, you need to ruthlessly track speed to lead and your consult-to-client conversion rate. Because as we established, speed and friction reduction are how you win a distressed consumer.
And conversely, for the enterprise firms hunting corporate work, tracking website conversion rates is useless.
Right.
They need to track RFP win rates, how often they actually win the offer-in. Request for proposal bids managed by corporate procurement. They need to track budget to actual variance, which proves to their corporate clients that they can accurately forecast a legal budget and stick to it without surprise overruns.
That makes a lot of sense.
And they heavily track Net Promoter Score or formal client feedback metrics. In fact, Thomson Reuters explicitly notes that law firms with formal, structured client feedback programs are associated with nearly double the share of external legal spend from those specific clients.
Nearly double.
Yes.
So what does this all mean? When you pull all these threads together, the barbell market hollowing out the generic middle, the AI pricing pressure breaking the billable hour, the strict compliance labyrinths, and the highly specific KPIs, what is the ultimate takeaway for you, the listener, trying to navigate this?
The ultimate takeaway is that go-to-market strategy in the legal field is no longer an abstract creative marketing exercise. It is a strict discipline of operational alignment. The firms that are winning today are the ones that meticulously match their acquisition channel, their service offering, their intake process, their staffing model, and their pricing structure to the exact specific buyer journey of their segment.
So no generic approaches.
Right. If you misalign any of those mechanical pieces, like if you try to sell a corporate merger using a frictionless automated web form, or you try to sell a simple uncontested divorce using a complex legal operations presentation, you will fail.
It is about building a segmented revenue system. It requires optimizing for discoverability and raw speed in the consumer practices, building deep, proactive ecosystem partnerships in the mid-market, and demonstrating absolute operational and pricing excellence for enterprise firms.
Exactly.
And honestly, for you listening right now, whether you are navigating legal services as a buyer or you are operating within a rigid traditional industry yourself, this is the blueprint. Aligning your pricing structure and your operational intake with your buyer's exact journey is the key to thriving. You simply cannot survive as a generic solution anymore.
You have to know exactly who your operational engine is built for and how they mechanically prefer to buy.
Absolutely. And it leaves me with one final kind of mind-bending question to ponder based on all of this data.
Yeah.
We talked about generative AI accelerating efficiency and taking over the drafting, the research, and the routine workflows.
Right.
As that technology continues to compound, will the law firms of the future look less like traditional human partnerships and more like advanced tech platforms wrapped in a layer of legal compliance?
It's entirely possible.
Like, will the core product stop being the lawyer's time entirely and instead become a monthly software subscription to use a firm's proprietary, highly trained, AI-driven legal algorithms? It really makes you wonder if that traditional brass shingle hanging outside is going to be replaced by simply plugging into a legal matrix.
That's a fascinating thought.
Something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.
If you got value from this, share it with someone building something real. And if you want to stay sharp on go-to-market, follow Neon Primer GTM. We'll be back with more.